Y'all have any questions about that scene or about anything?
Well, as far as like talking about things that resonate, things that are important, like you said earlier, like a lot of times they're controversial, and you end up, insulting somebody, or pissing somebody off, or like you you can't show somebody killing a dog, and then you can show certain things. So how do you decide in the gray area? Like how do you decide if something's too controversial to show if you'll insult too many people?
Well, it's a partnership with the studio and the network, and there's executives that we work with that weigh in on everything. And it, at first has to get past the writer's room. And we have many discussions about this stuff. And what is too far, and can we do that? And oh God, what does that do to Grace? And makes me hate her. She can't do that, If it gets out of the writer's room, then the discussions are between the studio and the network. The very last scene of our show, Grace tracks this priest down, and the last image we have is her. He has a gun. She has a gun to his head, and that scene originally was in a confessional, and the network did not want it in a confessional. Because of what Grace says to him, they just thought it was too much. And Holly and I could see it no place but a confessional. So there was a real problem. We had a problem. We always get notes. And usually you can, even if you don't agree with a note, you can find a way to make it work in your own way. This, I couldn't. I said, look, I don't mind changing the location of this if I can come up with something as good. And well, we hope you do. And I'm like, look, I hope I do too, or we have a problem because I don't want to change this. And it took me over a week, but it hit me how to do it better. And I ran it by Holly. Holly liked it too. So that worked out okay. But if I hadn't come up with something that I liked better, we would have shot it at the confessional, and it would have upset the network. And these are great people, and I trust them and I respect them. Unlike many executives, these people are smart and great. And I would have hated to do that because our partnership is so good. But I had to be honest to what the scene was. And our whole season led to that moment. The whole season. So it had to be done in a great way. But I was able to come up with something that was good enough for Holly and I. And that worked out fine. A lot of showrunners would have just gone, fuck it, it's going to be in the confessional. And and I don't care what you say. And other showrunners would have gone, okay, I'll change it. So, and again, those are those moments where what do you do? As a person, as a showrunner, as a writer, But I was lucky that I was able to come up with something that I like just as much.
Think that, in your belief, do you believe that God is having you do this for a reason? That it wasn't supposed to be in a confessional? Does he play that?
Nah, I don't think so. Although, when I wrote the pilot to this, I always do an outline. But as you write, the characters take over, and you may go a different place than what you thought in the outline. These characters came so alive to me. I didn't know Leon Cooley was going to be in jail, but Grace led me there. And that happens so rarely that I'm in the zone. I don't know, I'm so connected to these characters. I'm in the zone, whatever, it's God. I do feel like there were parts of this that I didn't write. These characters, the characters came alive And I think, I don't know, it's hard for me to say that God would spend his time guiding me on a script. And yet, God can do anything he wants. But so, I don't know.
You've had references in the show that try to suggest that God is not, surrounded by one faith or another. Did you do that because you felt that everyone wanted you to, or because you thought it was a good idea, or that's the best way to appeal to a lot of people? Or?
I wanted to do that because I don't think any of us know. All of us believe or don't believe, have faith or don't have faith, but we don't know. We don't know. So I'm not about to say I have the answers. My religion's right and yours is wrong. I just can't say that. I can have faith in my faith, but so I very purposely wanted this to be non-denominational. Earl is an angel to a Jewish guy, to Muslim people. In fact, Leon Cooley converts from Christianity to Muslim. And he thought he would be saying goodbye to Earl. But Earl's like, it's just like your phone number. You move, it moves with you. So, and that upset a lot of people because there's a lot of Christians who feel like there's only one way. The Bible is the Word of God. And it just always amazes me when someone judges other people's faiths and religions because, I know when that day comes and I'm face to face with God and then I'll know what's going on. But I'm just not about to say somebody else is wrong and I'm right. I just don't believe in that, I have too many Jewish friends who are great people and believe so strongly in their faith, and I'm going to go, no, you're wrong. I just can't do that, So now Earl talks to Grace in a language she understands. She was raised Catholic. He talks about hell. That's a very Christian thing. But if we heard him talking to a Jewish person, he would talk in the language that they understand, the religion that they understand. So, and when I was developing this, I was like, I want her to have grown up in a faith that she's walked away from, and I didn't want to do Catholic because my characters are always Catholic. But then I was like, okay, I'll make her Baptist, I'll do this, and it's like, I don't know those faiths, I don't know those religions. So I reverted back to what I know, and I made her Catholic. And then it worked well, spiraling into all this other stuff. But if I had been raised Jewish, she'd be Jewish, I'm sure, So.
And you think you like to tell a good story. Do you ever think what you hope audiences do with the good story you tell?
I hope they are entertained, first and foremost. I know the kinds of shows that I like are the kind that make me think, are the kind that don't tell me what to think. They let me decide. So that's what I want this show to be, is it makes you think. It's something to talk about, to talk over. Did you see that scene where Grace was tied to the bed? Well, I have a personal hope with this show, but it doesn't I can't let it bleed into what I do.